thanks to GallantHavoc for stopping by and joining me on this, and we will see you all next time. Guys? What? Guys? What?
What if this movie sucks?
So, you want to talk about it?
Yep.
But first.
Cheers. Now the question is, are we celebrating or are we drowning our sorrows?
I say celebrating.
I say bit both.
That's your opinion. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Ty McDougall and joined again here by GallantHavoc. Woo! And guess what we're here to talk about?
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars!
Yes, we're here to talk about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And note to self, whenever you are recording a trailer review, reaction to the epic final trailer of said Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, always make sure your camera is fully fucking charged. Anyway, so yeah, we just saw The Rise of Skywalker, last night? Last night. It'll probably be later in the week after the holidays by the time this video is uploaded. And we heard the skepticism, we heard a couple, not a lot, just a couple of non-spoiler reviews, and warning, this video may very well contain spoilers. But we still went in open-minded, hopeful, optimistic.
I wasn't optimistic. I was just, let's take it how it is.
I was optimistic.
If it's bad, it's bad. If it's not, it's not.
It can't be any worse than Episode 2.
Can't be any worse than Last Jedi. But no, it cannot be worse than Episode 2.
I liked Last Jedi.
I despise Episode 2.
I wouldn't say despised, but I enjoyed the prequels for what they were. Yes, Episode 2 was
the weakest.
The weakest, yeah, that's the best way to put it. The weakest of the three, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the bittersweet finale. The end of an era, the end of a saga, the Skywalker saga at the very least, and just to share our thoughts on it. Off the top, blown away as per usual by the visuals, the action, the pacing. It was good to see J.J. Abrams back in the saddle here. Yeah, he comes out guns a-blazing. As soon as the opening crawl is gone, then boom, you're right into the midst of the action. It more or less picks up where The Last Jedi left off. It kind of fills in the blanks a little bit with the opening crawl and whatnot. And it doesn't take long to get into the story, into the character establishment, like where these characters are now. What do you got to add to that?
Well, with the whole beginning act, it was a bit too fast-paced for my opinion.
Hyperspace skipping?
See, that wasn't bad. But
that wasn't bad.
The pacing could have been done a bit better if you ask me. But, like, it was just jump to jump to jump to jump to jump. Hyperspace jumping.
But considering that what JJ had to work with, one, he had to clean up the mess that was The Last Jedi.
Yep. And the big mess it was.
A very big mess. And it was also depicted early on through social media that he had planned to wrap up the entire saga, include elements from all the films, and he did that. So to see it as fast-paced action, gung-ho, boom, boom, boom as it was, are we really surprised? No, I'd say he did a superb job with what he had to work with what he planned to do, as much of everything he hoped to put into this film. And he did it. And seeing these characters, what do you think of the characters?
They've come a long way.
I like seeing where Finn is at. Everybody was saying that Finn's like a wasted character, or they didn't really use him well because they hinted at this and this in The Force Awakens, and then they did nothing with him in The Last Jedi, and now he's here in The Rise of Skywalker. I like where he's at, how he's grown, because you can see him, like, he gets to the gunner turn to the Falcon, like, all comfortable, easy, like, I own this shit now. We saw that romantic hint kind of bleh thing with him and Rose in The Last Jedi, but here in the Rise of Skywalker, they're on solid ground as friends. They respect each other, they're both in command positions. She's really coming to her own as such, as a commanding authority figure. To see where Rey is at now, becoming far more powerful than she was in the previous two. Seeing that she is getting some training, however frustrating. She has all this power, and she still feels like self-doubt, like she feels like she's not quite there yet, unsure as to which direction her destiny is going, like what it is she's supposed to be doing, which is an old story. We've seen and heard that before in other films, Star Wars included.
Hello, Anakin.
Hello, Anakin. And seeing Poe, he's still a hotshot pilot, but he's kind of like the reluctant leader. Like he's in this position, he's in this role, but he's still not. He wants just instinctively just shoot and go, but at the same time he's trying to lead, trying to follow orders, trying to set an example, trying to do the job properly. You know.
Han.
Exactly. There's Han. Speaking of Han, we'll get to that later. Let's talk about Carrie Fisher.
They did
Hats
her
off.
justice.
They did. Hats off to J.J. Abrams. No easy challenge. This guy was hit with so many difficult challenges, and he surpassed them all. He handled Carrie Fisher's passing and the character of General Leia very well.
Very, very well. Arguably, she is the best part of the movie.
Yeah, as one of the few remaining OG cast members, characters, yes, she's probably the best of all in the whole trilogy. What else for characters do you gotta throw in there?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Definitely
He's the most interesting.
Yeah, he's the most interesting of all the characters.
Because he's the most complex and compelling characters in the sequel trilogy. I just love how he portrays that character so well, and how they brought the character about full circle. All the little Han mannerisms that we see throughout the final act of the film, it was just perfect. Subtle. If you blink, you'll miss it. And seeing Billy D. Williams back as Lando is proof that Lando actually never did leave. Lando never left him. That was fun. Other cameos, we see, what's his name from The Lord of the Rings? What's his name?
That would be Mary.
Yeah, we know the character, but what's the actor's name?
Oh God,
Google it quickly.
Dominic Monaghan,
that's it. But the epic big reveal would be none other than Sheev Palpatine.
Even though it's not really that big of a reveal since the first trailer, because we knew he was
coming, but to see him in the film from the opening, basically, and to see how he's been somehow survived, it's never really explained, but throughout the film there's some little hints that suggest how it might have happened and who was involved. To see him reveal that he's been still pulling the strings. That one line from Return of the Jedi plays in my mind that Luke says, your overconfidence is your weakness. And if you listen to Palpatine throughout that, that's just totally him right through and through. Overconfident to the point where he's basically spilling the beans. It's any surprise he gets turned on or bested at the end. You know, like, what did you think was going to happen there, Palps?
But in the wise words of George Lucas, it's like poetry. It's
just poetry.
It's like poetry. It's just like poetry. It's poetic.
But what'd you think about when we heard Palpatine say, "You're my granddaughter" to Rey? I heard people in the audience like, "What?"
That's right. Someone boned Palpatine.
The dark side is strong in that one.
I mean, money and power.
Money and power, yeah.
Sorry. Money and unlimited power!
Well, considering everything that was speculated early on this past year as to Rey's lineage, who are Rey's parents, who are this, who are that, being related to Palpatine was in there. It was among the list of speculations and theories. But I never knew that Palpatine had kids to begin with. So it was indicated that at some point between episode 1 and 2, or 2 or 3, somewhere around there, that he had a kid, hopefully to mold him to be like the next emperor, the next leader. But something happened during all that mess. I don't know. He got away from him, or he fell in love with a woman, or...
it's always a woman.
It's always
a goddamn woman.
There's a lot we don't know. There's a lot that wasn't fully explained. But again, the hardcore fans, if this is Star Wars canon, if this is in the lore of Palpatine's backstory, then yeah, it would come as no surprise that Palpatine had a child. Any of this big what the fuck reveal moments we see in The Rise of Skywalker should really come as no surprise to the fans, hardcore or otherwise. The haters just need to stop their buttfuck whining and just enjoy the film for what it is. I mean, this is the end of everything that we grew up with. This is the end of it. Not the end of Star Wars, but this is the end of what George Lucas started as far as the Skywalker saga goes.
That we know of.
That we know of. Palpatine was there from the very get-go, even behind the scenes. We didn't see him in Episode 4. We get a hint of him in Empire Strikes Back, and then we see him throughout Return of the Jedi, and he's present in all the prequel trilogies, the Clone Wars, even Rebels, hinted at in Solo and Rogue One, and he's here in the finale.
Books, comics, boo to him, boo to him.
And he's here in the finale, so it had to be this way. Could it have been done better? Maybe.
Yes,
it could have been.
Like, me personally, I honestly was not a big fan of Palpatine coming back. I still am not really a big fan of Palpatine coming back, but after seeing it, I can see why they did it, and I'll admit I actually applaud them for doing that. It took guts too, because after the mess that The Last Jedi gave us, it seemed only fair to bring in that more familiar Star Wars feeling. The Emperor, pulling the strings behind everything. That's classic Star Wars, that's classic Palpatine.
And having Luke Skywalker in there. To say that at some point he and Leia figured it out that Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter. But why didn't they tell her? Why didn't Obi-Wan or Yoda tell Luke the truth about Vader from the very beginning?
From a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view. Some people have to learn certain truths for themselves. If they had told Luke the very truth from the very beginning, it would have totally changed his point of view, his outlook, his drive, what would have motivated him to do what and what and what. Could have very well easily pushed him down the dark side. Same with Anakin. If they had told him too early on that he's the chosen one, you have to do this, or you have to behave a certain way, that would have frustrated him even more and pushed him down the dark side a lot sooner. And if they had told Rey anything, that would have changed her as a character as well, and would have changed the outcome of the entire trilogy, and would have given the haters more reason to hate. So let's be happy with what we got. They say that it was like hinted at throughout the first two films about Palpatine, about why Rey is so powerful, and this and this and this. Some might say, no, that's bullshit. It wasn't written in the script early on. No one had a concise story from A to B to C. So that's all bullshit. But, yeah, if you look at the movies as they were, there may be very well hints that could have led to this and led to that. So, in a way, it does all fit together. It does make sense when handled and written and delivered properly. It does make sense. It does fit. It does work. It was one of the hopes early on, at least that I had and I heard on social media, that once Episode 9 comes out and everybody sees it and it ties up all the loose ends and answers all sorts of questions, it'll justify The Last Jedi. A lot of what we see and what happened in that film, it would make sense. And to see Luke as a Force ghost, that was good. That was good. After what Yoda had taught him in Episode 8, using the Force to hold a lightsaber, to have physical contact in the physical matter world aside from just sitting on a log. To hear more backstory about Leia in her Jedi training.
Leia's a Jedi.
Yeah, did you know that?
Leia was a Jedi. Let's talk about this whole Palpatine possessing Rey, pretty much. What'd you think of that?
It was very in your face. It was very little exposition, but again, Star Wars lore. It is Star Wars canon. Sith alchemy, sorcery to transfer the essence of a person's soul from one body to another. We've seen other Sith Lords do that in the past in canon. We've also seen Jedi turn Sith, turn Jedi, turn Sith, turn Jedi again. So the
Revan's canon. I just want to say Revan's canon now.
I think they know that.
Sith troopers, they are assigned to squads, and those squads are named after ancient Sith Lords, one of which is called Revan. Therefore, Revan's canon.
Revan Squad. So the idea of Rey coming from bad blood, but still being a good guy, and powerful enough to defeat bad blood, the origin of evil, it's not a stretch. It's not uncommon at all, and it makes perfect sense. It's perfectly fine. That's what I take from this movie. It was all perfectly fine. It fit. It was put together well, delivered well. Final thoughts on The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. Despite some of the pacing issues, I'll admit there was maybe a little too much fan service, but at the same time, the fan service is what made this movie so good, too. Like, to any Star Wars fan, true Star Wars fan, like, if you don't like the movie, that's fine, but I'm just saying, like, this is a love letter to the longtime fans of all Star Wars. Not just the movies, but the books, the comics, the TV series, whatever. This is a love letter to all of us.
Movie for the fans, by the fans.
Exactly. I do see why the movie got the hate it did, but that doesn't mean we need to hate it as well.
We don't. None of the films throughout Star Wars have been absolutely perfect. Beautifully done, beautifully written, well put together, visually spectacular from the very beginning. But have they all been perfect? No. The fan service, it was there, but not prevalent. It wasn't like we're hitting it on the head here. It's in your face. Like every subtle fan service, Easter egg, little nod to every single film that came before that they threw in Rise of Skywalker was put in perfectly, done just right, oh so well. Even the cameos from the smallest to the biggest were beautiful, perfectly done. Again, we see Han Solo back. Just for a moment, for one touching scene, and it was done beautifully. It served its purpose. It was a way to bring in every character that was ever a part of this series. And again, J.J. Abrams and the team, his team, the powers that be at Disney, they did a good job. My final thoughts are that The Rise of Skywalker wasn't a perfect film, but it was a beautiful farewell. It was a fun ride, entertaining from start to finish. It had big moments. Again, it had moments that got me in the feels, got me choked up. I was spellbound the whole time. I want to see this movie again several times, up on the big screen.
It is now time for me to finally buy the whole goddamn box set of all 9 movies. I'll get Rogue One and Solo separate, but all 9 movies, all in one, and say, you see this? This is Star Wars.
That's right. Okay, so what's your final rating? If you were to give this rating out of 5, yeah.
Okay. So, on my channel, I go by my GallantHavoc rating. So, Gallant if it's above 2.5 stars, Havoc if it's below 2.5 stars. So, I am giving Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9, a Gallant rating of 3 out of 5 stars. 3 out of 5 stars.
3 out of 5?
3 out of 5.
Wow. For me, I'm going 4.5.
A bold statement.
4.5. To me personally, it deserves no less. Anybody else thinks otherwise, hey, you're welcome to it. Love it or hate it. I mean, come on, this is Star Wars. This is it. Aside from what they got on Disney Plus with The Mandalorian and Kenobi coming out next year, casting Andor, God knows what else they have in the works.
The next season of Clone Wars.
The next season of Clone Wars. And whatever. new movies they plan to come out in the years ahead, motion pictures. This is it for a while. I'd give it a higher rating if I could, but I have to acknowledge what's what. And yeah, it wasn't a perfect movie, so for me it's 4 out of 5. And if you don't like that, fight me! Come fight me! But we're family. We fight all the time.
That was our ramblings, our ravings,
Our thoughts,
our thoughts, our unscripted review.
our opinion.
Let us know what you think. If you like it, cool. You love it, even better. You hate it, good. Let the hate flow through you.
Give in to your anger.
But yeah,
Your journey to the dark side will be complete.
so post your thoughts and comments down below. Let us know what you all thought. If you saw The Rise of Skywalker, great. Tell us what your favorite scene was, what your favorite moment, or a quick little line of dialogue, witty humor. A lot of it in this film. Again, very well done. If you didn't like it, hey, tell us why. And be sure to check out my channel more for previous videos I have posted, or any more videos I will post in the near future. Also be sure to check out my nephew's channel at GallantHavoc. Recently he has a game review for Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
And yeah, that was a pretty good video. Up to 40 views so far. And he just posted it like last week.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen The Rise of Skywalker yet, I suggest you go see it. If you're a hardcore fan or just a casual moviegoer, if you haven't seen the other films, it don't matter. Just enjoy the fun ride that it is. Again, I'm Type McDougall, and I thank you all for watching. I thank GallantHavoc here for joining me tonight. And we'll see you all next time on the next review. Peace.
Later.
All right. We definitely need to do this with beer more often.